Hi there. This video is going to be my application to join the Art Addicts Alliance, a group of really great artists that I really enjoy seeing work from. I've chosen to do a watercolor painting on one of their previous themes, Masquerade. So what you see me doing here is I'm just using my circle template to create some different size circles because I'm wanting to try to create a bokeh effect in watercolor. Think of when you see a photograph that has bright circular lights in the background that are kind of blurred out or at a far distance behind the subject. First, I'm using the wet on wet technique to blend 3 colors together to create the background. I add a little bit extra water in between these colors in the white areas to help maintain a bit of that white in those areas as it dries. This is probably the happiest that I've been with how the skin has ended up looking in one of my paintings. Again, using the wet on wet technique, I put the blush areas first and let that color bleed into the skin tone, which I mix in different color consistencies so it looks less flat and more lifelike. Normally, I would use blue for shading skin, but this time I used the same purple as in the background in hopes that it would make the whole piece look a little bit more cohesive. Again, just adding a darker version of the previous skin tone over the purple shading and in some other areas so that it looks a little more like a variation in the skin tone and not like her neck is just purple. I know it looks a little crazy at the top of the hair, but I've got a plan. Along my masking tape, I've cut out bits of the tape where my drawing is so that parts of the painting will breach the white border. I think it'll add a bit of visual interest. So now for the bokeh. I added diluted white gouache to the circles, and I was really nervous to do this because even though I watched a ton of tutorials on the bokeh effect, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to execute it properly. Monkey see, monkey do definitely does not apply in art. Most tutorials were using white craft ink and a circle stamper, which I don't have. But in one particular video, they did use just a plain old paintbrush and gouache paint, so I put all of my faith in that technique. My goal was to have the larger circles the least white, and work my way up to a brighter white with the smaller circles. Kind of like when a flashlight is more concentrated, the light is more dense, if that makes sense. I did end up darkening the background just a little and then added a little more diluted colors to some of the larger circles because they still looked a little too white to me. The mask is what I think I'm the least happy with in this painting. I tried to come up with the pattern and details myself, and I think it shows. I wanted it to be more moth-like and less butterfly-like. Which do you think it looks more like? I was excited to get to use some of my metallic watercolors. The blue and green are what I used on this mask, and I really think they ended up saving it. The tone of her skin was a bit similar to the tone of the background, so I darkened that up as well. I used white dots of gouache as a base for where I planned on putting the gold accent, just so that the gold would pop a little bit brighter. I don't think it would be as bright as if I had just put it right on top of the blue. Initially, I was going to paint her top black, but I was worried that it would pull attention away from the other colors, so I decided to line it in gold and then give it a light gray wash, and then a final layer of metallic white to make it sparkly. I also decided for the metallic gold accents that I would use a metallic gold acrylic paint just to give it a bit more of a punch and opaqueness. What do you think of this piece? Should I have went with a black top instead of white? I almost feel like it would have grounded the character a bit more. I don't know. I really love the metallic paint. Any excuse for sparkles. Love them. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button. And also, if you want to see more content from me in the future, click that red subscribe button and also the little bell icon, and turn notifications to all so that YouTube will hopefully notify you every time I upload a new video. Normally I upload on Monday mornings, but I had to get this one out in time for the deadline for the Art Addicts Alliance, so yeah. Alright, bye guys!